Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Indeed, all praise is for Allah. We praise Him, seek His assistance, and seek His forgiveness. We seek refuge in Allah from the evil promptings of our soul and from our evil actions. Whosoever Allah guides, none can misguide, and whosoever Allah leaves astray, none can guide aright. I testify that none has the right to be worshipped except Allah alone, having no partner, and I testify that Muhammad, may Allah exalt his mention, is his slave and his messenger. Today is our lesson about Allah's most beautiful names and attributes. We have to start speaking about his names, Jalla wa Ala. But before, we have to say starting words about it, about that. Nowadays, the issue is really terrible. The situation all mankind are facing are really terrible. Actually, to understand properly your deen, is highly mandatory. It's highly mandatory. It is the most honorable. It is the most effective. It is the best deeds to be accepted. It is the most honorable, the most high-ranked, the greatest, the best, the most beneficial. All these are about understanding deen properly. So, fiqh in the deen, to understand your deen properly, it is the best kind of knowledge a person should know. It's not only the best, it is the most honorable, the most lovely, the most beautiful, the most honorable, the most high-ranked level of knowledge for the brain and the heart. And it is the highest ranked category to be known by a slave, Muslim slave, about his deen generally. To know the deen properly is the highest level of honorable, best knowledge gained for the brain to know. And then, knowledge about Allah by His names, attributes, deeds, again, more specific knowledge is knowledge about Allah Jalla wa Ala, His names, His attributes, His deeds, His deen, His religion, His legislations. To have knowledge, proper knowledge about prophets generally, about messengers, His prophets, His messengers. To have proper knowledge about His promises and His warning words. To have knowledge about His reward and His punishment. And knowing knowledge, then start acting by or acting accordingly. And this act is reflected on your behavior, whether internally or externally. Not only behavior, but also attitude, this is the highest ranked level of knowledge any person can gain. Understand? Understand? Again, again and again, because it deserves to know properly what are you honored by. It deserves to know properly what should you do as a result of Allah's grace to all of us. Again, fiqh in deen, comprehensive, proper knowledge in your religion. To know your religion properly. How? To know Allah by His names, attributes, deeds. This is one issue. To know His religion, His legislations, His prophets, His messengers. To know His promises and His threatening words. To know His reward. To know His punishment. To know what should you do properly according to that knowledge. And then reflection of that on you by your behavior, by your attitude, by your talk, by your promises, by your surrounding knowledge. Reflection. All that is the best a person can spend his life to know or to reach. All that is the best to reach, is the best to know, is the best to perform, is the best to try to gain, because not everybody is gaining that. Only whom Allah is caring with, only whom Allah has honored. And a person, a Muslim, gain all that, a Muslim, gain all that, which I'll repeat again, but I finish the sentence. A Muslim gain all that he has reached the wisdom. Why he reached the wisdom? Because he is going to pronounce the word Tawhid, monotheism, or pronunciation of the witness that La ilaha illallah. He is going to pronounce it by the three things he has. By his heart, by his tongue, by his jawarih, his limbs, all his body. That thing is not for everybody. Because Allah Jalla wa Ala said in Surah Al-Jumu'ah, verse 4, ذَلِكَ فَضْلُ اللَّهِ يُؤْتِيهِ مَنْ يَشَاءُ وَاللَّهُ ذُو الْفَضْلِ الْعَظِيمِ. It is only Allah's grace to whom He likes, and Allah Jalla wa Ala is the only who is giving this grace. Surah Al-Jumu'ah 4. Let us revise again what we have said. Any man, any human being, any human being is formed of two things: body and soul. Body and soul. If the soul is out of the body is going to be putrefied, to be spoiled. So that body is walking because of the soul inside it. The whole dunya, like the body, its spirit is the deen. So if the deen is out, the life is spoiled. How it is spoiled? The human being will be changed into animal-like attitude. They will be like beasts and lions. He is running here and there, take whatever he wants without any rules, without any orders to do or not to do, without any limits. Animal behavior. That animal behavior is the typical picture we are nowadays seeing. Nowadays, we are in the lowest level of manners, least amount of souls, of higher attitude of the souls. There isn't. Together with very low iman, and spoiled thoughts, corrupted societies, leading to unstable safety surroundings. That thing is the typical nowadays lives. Again, we started saying the comprehension or the understanding of your deen properly is the highest level of thoughts, of brain thinking, of honorable knowledge gained to a person. That deen, to understand about it, deen knowledge generally, religious knowledge generally, is the most honorable deeds and the best and the highest rank and the most honorable, the greatest, the best, the most useful, the highest level of high-ranked graduation of sciences graduated, he is the highest. To have that knowledge properly, this is the highest level of graduation. If you graduated all kinds of knowledge, it is the highest to understand your deen, your religion properly. What should I know about it? What should I know about that religion? What is the levels to reach that high level of most honorable, of most respectable, of most loved, of most changing the behavior into high, civilized, most accepted manners? How to reach that level? To reach that level is by. To reach that level is by what? Number one, knowledge about Allah Jalla wa Ala with His names, attributes, deeds. Knowledge about Allah, His names, His attributes, His deeds. This is number one. Number two, knowledge proper knowledge, I mean proper knowledge about his deen, his religion, his legislations. Knowledge, number 3, knowledge about his prophets, his messengers. Proper knowledge, I mean. Number 4, knowledge about his promises and his threatenings. Number 5, knowledge about his rewards and his punishment. So we are now having proper knowledge about, number 1, Allah by his names, attributes, deeds. Number 2, his deen, his religion, his legislation. Number 3, knowledge, proper knowledge about his prophets, his messengers. And then number 5, knowledge about his threatenings, his promises. And then knowledge about his reward and his punishment. These are the proper knowledges to be gained. So these are knowledges. What is the second step? Now there are knowledges. These are different kinds of knowledge. Then what is the second step? The second step is to believe in that, to have belief, proper belief about the names and attributes and deeds of Allah you came to know. You have sure belief about your deen and its legislations. Proper knowledge about prophets and messengers. Came to know that Allah has promises and has threatenings. Proper knowledge related to my mind comes to my mind, change my attitude to trust that one day I'll die and meet my prophet, my Lord. He's going to reward me for my patience. He's going to reward me for my belief. He's going to reward me for calling others to his deen and to his knowledge and to his actions done and to know about him. I'll be rewarded, inshallah. So I know that after that knowledge there should be amal to do according that knowledge. That knowledge, it should be reflected on you doing what you came to know. And we are going to say how. That deed is not only external, that others are seeing you wearing properly because you are a Muslim. This is external. It should be accompanied by internal behavior. You with yourself, quiet, trusting that you should never tell lies, for example. So you can, while talking, you didn't mean it, but while talking you discover that you said something which you didn't say it. Nobody knows but you. Immediately change it. Immediately, without being ashamed, without being fear of anybody, fear about your prestige, fear, immediately change it. Many times you mean that. While talking, you discovered, for example, you have to say something. And then I'll discuss you how. Just now, I met this situation. I said to the person I'm talking, I did that. I will do it. I will do it. After my talk, I will do this. I told him. Then I found that I said I did that. I omit I did, and it is already made to be done. But I said I did it. I didn't did it. See to how extent you are meticulous. Do you understand? I said I did that. Then I said to myself, you didn't did it. You may die before did it. You didn't did it. So I changed I did into I did that, inshallah, immediately after finishing the talk. But I didn't did it. I said I did it. I did not did it. So I said I change it and said I will do that, inshallah, after finishing the talk. See how to be as meticulous as that, because doing by what you came to know, what you came to know, you came to know about your Lord, about He is the one calculating the meticulous things you are doing. He is the one you are going to face one time and one day. He is the one going to ask you, and you book involving every meticulous thing you did it. ما لهذا الكتاب لا يغادر صغيرة ولا كبيرة إلا وأحصاها ووجدوا ما عملوا حاضرا ولا يظلم ربك أحدا. In Surah Al-Kahf, Allah is saying how very meticulous this book is. None has been forgotten. None meticulous word you did, or you was intended to do is written. Everything is written. So where are you going? So this means that العمل بموجب ذلك ظاهرا وباطنا. What is العمل بموجب ذلك? To do according to that knowledge. What knowledge? Knowledge about Allah, His names, His attributes, His deeds, about His religion, about His legislations, about His prophets, about His promises, about His threatening, about His reward, about His punishment. To whom are you going to? Why you came to know all this? In order to act accordingly. So knowledge about that, it should be reflected on you by behavior. By behavior. That behavior is internal and external, hidden and unhidden, very apparent and hidden, pronounced by talk, acting by deeds, behaving by behaviors. So your talk, your deeds, your behavior should indicate your proper knowledge about Allah, His deeds, His religion, His legislation, His prophets, His Jalla wa'ala. Whose knowledge is completed? Whose knowledge is completed? He has reached the end result. What is the end result? The end result is union of two things, or combination of two things: wisdom and proper ability to judge. Again, who reached that level. What is the level? To complete his knowledge about this data I just now said. He has reached the maximum of knowledge by gaining two things together: the wisdom and the decision to do that, not to do that, to agree for that, to refuse that. He can judge what to do and what not to do. What is the meaning of that? The meaning of that, he is pronouncing the word Tawhid, that La ilaha illallah. The word Tawhid is La ilaha illallah. The monotheism is to say La ilaha illallah. After reaching that knowledge, just now I'm telling you about it, he can pronounce the word of Tawheed by his heart, by his tongue, by his jawarih, by his limbs. Accordingly, he is going to be of that group. ذلك فضل الله يؤتيه من يشاء والله ذو الفضل العظيم. That thing, just now I said to you, is only Allah grace. It is bestowing from Allah to him. And Allah is not going to give it to anybody. Because Allah Jalla wa Ala, ذو الفضل العظيم. He is the only owner for his almighty grace. He can give it to any whom he like, according to his wisdom, according to his mercy, according to his knowledge. Again, Allah Jalla wa Ala, if a person gain, this is from Allah grace. Allah is the only who is having that. What is that? Al-Fadl Al-Azim. He is the only owner for his almighty grace. He is not giving to anybody. He is giving to whom he wants, according to his three things: his wisdom, his mercy, his knowledge. What about it? He deserves. That person deserves. That slave deserves Allah grace. According to Allah knowledge, wisdom, mercy, that slave deserve what? That kind of knowledge, which let him be able to pronounce monotheistic word La ilaha illallah by his heart, by his tongue, by his jawarih. He is behaving, talking, feeling the meaning of La ilaha illallah. The human being is body and soul. If the soul is out of the body is spoiled. The dunya, the world we are living at, is the body. Its soul is the deen. If the deen is out of this dunya, this life, the life is spoiled. And the result is the man or the slaves will be changed from being human being honored from Allah by being the offspring of Adam alayhi salam. They were honored by the deen. If the deen is lost, they will be changed into animal behaviors, like beasts, like lions. Everybody is going here and there, wants what he wants, take that thing he wants without limit, without rules, without orders, without being prevented. He can take whatever he wants at any time, by any limit, without any rules. Beast, lions, forest has nothing to do with proper humanity. Nowadays, this is the condition. Nowadays, this is the condition. The worst level of manners, the least amount of iman, the empty minds of proper knowledge, corrupted societies, unstable safety, All these things are highly well apparent all over, all around us. And the result is, we have reached times, group of people have been used by shaitan, to demolish Islam bonds, to attack Islam structure, and to demolish its structure, and revoked its laws. So nowadays we can hear talks, deeds, where there is combination of disbelief, innocence, inanity, and total ignorance, and aggressive, impolite talks and attitude about our Lord, about his prophets, about his deen, about his believers. And they are saying that without being fear, without any shy. They are talking about Allah Jalla wa Ala without fear. They are insulting his prophet without any kind of shame. They are doing that so daring, so aggressively. Their envy is well apparent, and they are not denying. Really, that issue is as great as that a person feel all his body is full of sweat, and all our inside hearts, livers are torn from being very afraid, because surely Allah is going to bring his punishment sooner or later for the inanity, disbelief, insolence. Allah is going to punish those. The enemies of Islam has sent things to Muslims to corrupt their minds, to spoil their lives, to bring them as far as that from their deen, to let them quarrel with each others, and to ruin themselves by themselves, starting by just talking and disputing between each others, until finally attacking each others. Go and see different Muslim countries and nations. You will find them attacking each others. They are not attacked from foreigners. those in different kinds of different countries, Muslim nations, they are attacking each others. The governor is violent, the citizens are attacking. So coming two groups, one with the ruler, one with the others. They are attacking each other, crushing each other, killing each other. All are Muslims, or are supposed to be Muslims. Actually, as if you have a great poisoned, targeted to the heart of the Muslim nation. He attacked the heart of the Muslim nations by a poisoned arrow. So the Islamic world are now in great low privileged levels. You are finding shameful deeds. You are finding ignorance, robbery, fear, prisons, killing, great poverty, sources of stealing and robbery. All that are present in our Muslim countries. The worst manners, the worst level of ignorance, the dirty sins in the most honorable man, in the most honorable place, in Muslim countries. Muslims are so foolishly giving their souls, their money, their kids to their enemies. To their enemies. They are leaving the kids, used their tools of corruption. And if you ask kids or young-aged men and women about even the names of the Sahaba, they don't know. They don't know. Some don't know that our Prophet is called Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you go to the deepest area of each country, the very low privileged level of many Muslim countries, you will find people don't know the names of our Prophet. Catastrophe. Terrible level of ignorance, of total blindness about the reality of La ilaha illallah. None has the right to be worshipped but Allah. The only way to save us from all these ruining ways and tools is to evacuate, as if you have a pot, as if you have big utensil filled with bad things. These bad things are due to the hawa. What you like, what I like, what she likes, what he likes, what all likes. We have to evacuate, get rid of, remove this what I like, to allow guidance, huda, to wash the polytheistic, spoiled seeds, resulting in committing sins. We have to get rid of all that, to let the light of monotheism resulting in righteous deeds to come in, to let the sunnah clean and purify the innovations, the spoiling actions, to let the truth be as clear as that. Dunya without deen will never be good. Human being without iman will be ruined. Iman fruits will not be apparent without Tawhid, without monotheism, without believing in Allah alone, having no partner, and to have iman by that, and to be pious for that. You should be oriented by the fact that people are only two groups. They aren't three groups, only two groups. Either good, either bad, either corrupted, either not corrupted, either blind, either be able to see. Each of the two groups has two things, has a flag raised and has an end result wanted. People are two kinds, good or bad, blind or can see, corrupted or not. Each of these two groups has his flag raised and his end result aimed at. Surely, if the man is corrected, the whole mankind will be corrected. And if the man is corrupted, the whole world is corrupted. The only way for saving is to be monotheistic, to know that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah, and to worship Him by His deeds, by His names, by His attributes. This is the only saving solution for reaching success. It is the main lesson and the first lesson to be educated for each kid, for each man, for each woman, for each youth, male or female. Each Muslim should know that in order to worship his Lord correctly, in order to worship his Lord perfectly, in order to be happy both in this dunya and in his hereafter. We have to know that in order to be monotheistic, we have to know that in order to be monotheistic, Allah has created all heavens and earth, all sun and moon, all day and night, all inns and jinn, all paradise, all hellfire. Again, Allah Jalla wa'ala, in order to be monotheistic, in order to worship Allah alone, having no partner, He Jalla wa'ala created heavens, earths, created sun and moon, created day and night, created inns and jinn, created heavens and fire and hellfire, created everything higher up and low down in order only to worship Him alone, having no partner. Are the proof for that? And the proof for that is in Surah Al-An'am 102. Allah Jalla wa'ala is saying, ذَلِكُمُ اللَّهُ رَبُّكُمْ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُ لا إله إلا هو جل وعلا خالق كل شيء فاعبدوه وهو على كل شيء وكيل. That's your Lord. That's your Lord. None but Him has the right to be worshipped. He is your own creator and He is the creator of everything. Worship Him. Worship Him. He is the only to have the full reliance from all His creatures. Monotheism is the limestone of every deed. It is the key for any kind of happiness. Who is truly honest in asking that from Allah, He is going to give it to him. Who really asks Allah honestly and truly that he wants to know Him properly, Allah is going to give him. Allah is going to use him accordingly. Allah Jalla wa'ala will give him full contentment, and He will give him great happiness. Who came to know Allah by His most beautiful names and the great attributes and most beautiful deeds? Who came to know Allah by His treasures, unlimited, nice, beautiful treasures? Who came to know Allah by His deen, by His legislation, by His promises, by His threatening, by His prophets and messengers, by His words revealed to His prophets? Who came to know Allah by His greatly wise destiny? He's going to get the greatest amount of knowledge. He will be of those Allah likes. He's going to taste the sweet taste of Iman. Who came to know that? He's going to worship Allah alone by His names. He's going to worship Allah by His names, like As-Sami', the most hearing, Al-Basir, the most seeing, Al-Alim, the most knowing, Al-Qadir, the most capable, Al-Karim, the most merciful, Al-Rahim, the most generous, and all other Allah's most beautiful names. He's going to be monotheistic by His deeds. Again, who's going to gain that knowledge? He's going to worship Allah by His names, like As-Sami', Al-Basir, Al-Alim, Al-Qadir, Al-Karim, Al-Rahim, the most seeing, the most hearing, the most knowledgeable, the most capable, the most generous, the most merciful, all His names. And he's going to worship Allah and being monotheistic by His deeds, by His attributes, like hearing, like vision, like knowledge, like capability, like mercy, like wisdom, and all other high attributes. And he's going to monetize Allah, to be monotheistic by Allah deeds, like creation, like provision, like capability to create, to make alive or to cause death, like to be able to control. And as a result of that, he will be monotheistic by slaves' deeds. He will be monotheistic by slaves' deeds. He will never call but Allah. He will never say Allahu Akbar, only Allahu Akbar. None is Akbar but Allah. Full reliance on Allah only, not on any. He's going not to love but Allah. He's going not to fear but Allah. He's not going to hope but Allah. He's not going to worship but Allah. He's not going to ask assistance but from Allah. And he is going to be monotheistic by following Prophet Muhammad, may Allah exalt his mention. He's going to obey his orders. He's going to believe anything Muhammad said it. He's going to avoid anything Muhammad prevent us not to doing. He is going to worship us, to worship Allah correctly. All these deeds, knowledge, filling the heart by pure monotheism, by pure complete iman, which makes the heart full of illumination from Allah, holy illumination. It will lead all jawarih only to do righteous deed. What Allah likes, these jawarih are going to do. He will never say but good words. He will never do but good deeds. He will never think but good things, whether internally or externally. He will be all the time illuminated by Tawhid and by Iman. So his internal soul will never think badly, will never ask desires, will only think about as-Sirat al-Mustaqim. His holy body will be totally worshipping his Lord. So he will be calm and decent. He will be only desiring. His own desires will be around his worship, how to be perfect, how to be good, how to obey his Lord. Reaching that, he will gain the full kinds of knowledge, and all the doors will be opened for him, and all the pillars of Iman will come to him. And he will gain a lot from Allah love. Reaching that needs a lot. So we are trying as much as possible to know that, to know correctly and purely about Allah Jalla wa'ala. You have to know something. You have to know something that we cannot reach that except through two ways only. No third, only two. Only two things. We have none other the two lines to gain that. Number one, to look around us in the universal verses. And number two, to look thoroughly and correctly in the authentic Quranic verses. We have to look around us in the universe to see Allah. Verses all around us, and to read his Quran, to pick up the Quranic verses. Who can reach this? By gaining the two look around you in the universal verses and read your Quran with perfection, with great intention to understand. Who gain that? Gain the maximum of knowledge, the best of knowledge, the most useful knowledge, the most perfect knowledge, the first and the end, the appear and the hidden, the present and at this universe, at hereafter. If the slave gain knowing Allah book, his prophet Sunnah, he is going to be Rabbani. He is going to be for his Lord. Gain knowledge, give knowledge. Listen, obey. Bend and prostrate only to his Lord. He is monotheistic. Never ever other than that. He will gain the truth from his King, the truth. Allah said in Surah Luqman, ذَلِكَ بأن الله هو الحق ذلك بأن الله هو الحق وأن ما يدعون من دونه الباطل وأن الله هو العلي الكبير. In Surah Luqman 30, Allah Jalla wa'ala is saying that is because Allah is the truth, and other than Allah called by others is the opposite, is not at all, but other than the truth, the opposite of the truth. And that Allah Jalla wa'ala Al-Ali, the highest, Al-Kabir, the greatest. Allah Jalla wa'ala is the King, the truth, the highly prominent in his most beautiful names and attributes. All this universe is his. All these creatures are his, obedient to his order, whether it wants or not. And it is responding to his Mashi'ah, what he wants. And that they are in a hurry to his will. What he will, they are going to obey. Whether you want or you don't, whether you can or not, according to our will, you are going to obey forcibly or likely. So it is better to like, because all are his slaves. Allah Jalla wa'ala, Al-Wahid Al-Ahad, the one, the unique. Allah Jalla wa'ala makes all his creatures can eat from his grace. He Jalla wa'ala makes all hearts talked to by his revelation. Allah Jalla wa'ala makes all creatures, like heavens, like mountains, like sun and moon, like other stars, all the universe are telling about his grandiosity, are praising him, are telling every one of his creatures is telling his monotheistic attitude. Allah Jalla wa'ala in Surah Al-Isra 44 is saying, تُسَبِّحُ لَهُ السَّمَوَاتُ السَّبْعُ وَالْأَرْضُ وَمَنْ فِيهِنْ. تُسَبِّحُ لَهُ السَّمَوَاتُ السَّبْعُ وَمَنْ فِيهِنْ. In Surah Al-Isra 44. In Surah Al-Isra 44, Allah is telling that in Surah Al-Isra 44, Allah Jalla wa'ala is saying, تسبح له السماوات السبع والأرض ومن فيهن وإن من شيء إلا يسبح بحمده ولكن لا تفقهون تسبيحهم إنه كان حليما غفورا. Allah Jalla wa'ala is saying in Surah Al-Isra that all the universe, all his universe, the heavens, the seven heavens, all the earth, the seven earths, and the inhabitants of, all inside, all what they contain, those inside heavens and inside earth, from the creatures of Allah, are all praising and none dare not to praise Allah, to glorify Allah by praising Him. But we don't understand. We don't understand. We don't understand that kind of glorification. You don't understand when you are beside the window of your room, if you have a window, to be able to see pigeons or birds coming beside your window, you hear their sounds. These sounds are praising Allah, are glorifying Allah, but we don't understand that. We don't understand that they are glorifying and praising her Lord. Allah Jalla wa Ala really the ever forbearing. He is really all the time forgiving. And we don't know the end result of knowledge is full monotheism. To reach full monotheism is the maximum of knowledge, and to be pious, to reach piety, is the maximum of deed, and that is what Allah wants from His creatures, from His slaves. Again, the final end of knowledge is full monotheism. To reach full monotheism, you reach the end result of proper knowledge, and it will lead to pious, it will lead to righteous deeds. These deeds, to be perfect, to be done by piety, this is the perfection of piety. And that is the only Allah wants from His slaves, to have full monotheism and to do that with full piety. So knowledge and thoughts and knowledge and thinking and looking to the universe around you, and to worship Allah by piety and by doing perfect righteous deeds, you will reach the full certainty about Allah, His essence, His names, His attributes. And when you reach certainty about Allah's words, about Allah's rules, about Allah's orders, you will surely reach certainty about His promises and about His threatening. And doing that, you will reach the full love to Allah, the full submission, the full slavery nature, and the full picture of grandiosity to Him, to honor Him, to give Him the highest honorable grade. And the result is that you are only working by His legislation, by His orders, by His rules, and not using others' rules. This is the monotheism Allah wants. And on reaching that, a person can reach the pillars of certainty. And the pillars of certainty are three pillars: to monotheize Allah by His names and attributes, to monotheize Allah by deeds and supplication, and not to see other than Allah, to ask or to see or to love. Certainty is to look to Allah, to be monotheistic in His names, in His attributes. This is one category. And the second category is by deeds. Deeds is Allah deeds and slaves deeds. Allah deeds, all deeds of His rububiyyah, His lordship. And slaves deeds are the supplications, are the prayer, are all slaves deeds. The result is you are not saying but Allah. You are not going but to Him. So you are going to do His deeds, His orders with love. And you will be greatly annoyed and dislike sins and what Allah dislike. So you will be a slave for Allah and not a slave for your hawa, what you like. So you will gain Allah contentment and you will be happy both in that world and in hereafter. Because the only aim for creation is monotheism. And Allah makes our fitrah, our internal reality, to what we like and what we go to be directed towards His monotheism. Because this is the most what Allah loves. Because it is the only right of Allah for all His slaves. Because in Surah Al-Dhariyat 56, Allah said, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسِ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I didn't create them only but to worship me. And then He confirmed it, saying, مَا أُرِيدُ مِنْهُم مِّن رِزْقٍ وَمَا أُرِيدُ أَن يُطْعِمُونَ. Allah didn't want any type of provision, any type of things to be fed or taken. Why? Because He is the most provider. He is the most having strength, and this capability is the strongest. So He isn't in need of any. He isn't in need of any. We will stop here, inshallah, to continue next time. Hopefully, you are benefiting from that. May Allah accept, may Allah accept, may Allah accept. جزاكم الله خيرا, بارك الله فيكم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.